Starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
So good morning and welcome to our webinar, 6 Ways to Increase Traffic Ahead of Key Shopping Events. My name is Adam Murfitt and I am a Business Development Manager here at Trustpilot.
And my name is Jamie Lyons. I'm a Senior Business Development Manager here at Trustpilot.
So just a quick agenda here. We will be covering off a little bit about Trustpilot, followed by the key shopping events for the remainder of this year. And then we'll be focusing on some areas in which you can boost traffic via content, social advertising, website speed, mobile, voice search, and lastly with reviews. We will take and answer as many questions as we can at the end of the webinar.
So before we get started, I want to point out that this webinar is actually inspired by a blog post that we recently published, which is worth everybody taking a little bit of time to go and have a look at after the webinar, which tells you the key ways in which you can drive traffic to your site in 2017. A little introduction to Trustpilot and why we're doing what we do before we get started. And I think it's important that I explain why Trustpilot is such an important and valuable tool to both consumers and businesses. The reason we were actually founded was our CEO and founder, Peter, had a personal experience with his mother buying online where he felt that it was difficult to understand who trustworthy online retailers were, and after sort of playing around with the idea for a short amount of time, he realized very quickly that there is a huge and universal need for reviews to be collected about businesses to help consumers make those better buying decisions. And now we're in a position where trust and transparency is a huge part of everybody's online and offline buying decisions, with 92% of consumers reading online reviews, and 38% of people actually say that they would not consider buying from a new website without taking a review into consideration. So it is a huge part of that buying journey.
And so looking into the shopping events in 2017 for Q4, just want to ask a quick question at this stage, which is of the 4 sales days that are going to occur towards the end of the year, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas Day and Boxing Day, which of these days as a business is most important to you? Okay, we can see some responses coming in, some interesting results which I'll share with you. Just keep this open for a few more seconds. Okay. So we're just waiting for the results to pop up now. And as we can see, that actually it's quite surprising with the results, not what I expected, that 71% of you, Black Friday is the most important day, with a quarter of you finding Christmas Day being the most important day, and none of you surprisingly saying Cyber Monday. Now, going into some of our research that we have produced over the course of the last few months worldwide, keen to see that actually Christmas Day is by far the most important shopping day in terms of revenue generated. So £77.56 billion was spent last year, and we're expecting even more so this year. This was followed by Boxing Day, and then Black Friday, and then lastly Cyber Monday. So just because Black Friday and Cyber Monday were 3rd and 4th in that list, it wouldn't be wise to ignore these days. 40% of retailers experienced a 48% average revenue growth during Black Friday and Cyber Monday in 2016, which is why I'm probably expecting why quite a lot of you are focusing on Black Friday this year as a huge opportunity to grow sales. It is worth pointing out though that with those extra sales comes extra challenges. So in December 2016, the number of 1-star reviews increased on Trustpilot from just under 7% to just over 10%. This was mainly due to bad customer service and also delivery speed. pricing at 62% and customer service at 47.5% were voted the two most important factors during the holiday period.
So what we want to do now is look at how we can stand out during these holiday periods, these key periods that Adam's just mentioned, and increase the amount of traffic and click-through rates to drive the traffic to our website. We've actually been collating quite a lot of data recently through a worldwide survey across Trustpilot's various localized websites, and we've had over 13,000 responses from this survey, for which we're going to be publishing the results very soon at some point during September. So the first thing we want to speak about is content and how content marketing is a very popular marketing tool. In fact, marketers have rated it the most important technique for driving sales in 2017. And in 2016, 90% of companies use content marketing as part of their overall strategy. So there are loads of different types of content marketing, and I think before we move on, it would be good to do another poll, which is to look at these 6 different types of marketing content: social media, case studies, reviews, blog posts, newsletters, and videos, and just put the question out there to everybody who's joined the webinar to ask which of those is the most effective for you. So just whilst we're waiting for those answers to come in, so there's just a few more answers coming in at the moment. So it seems looking at the responses, the responses say that social media is an important factor, with 25% of you saying that that's the most important. But by far the most important that stands out for me at the moment is case studies, with 35% of the responses there. So that's really interesting. And what I'd like to do really is look at how these different types of content can help you drive the traffic and increase the engagement with your site during these key periods. So using content, you're able to increase traffic to your website because you're able to create valuable and insightful content, which is going to be really useful to the people who are going to be visiting your website. Reviews are obviously a great piece of user-generated content, and it's constantly updated. So the reviews themselves are authentic and valuable, and that's going to be very, very important to any potential new customer. Pages and categories is a very important factor, because when you're increasing the number of landing pages for important keywords and creating new category pages and blog posts, visuals, infographics, and videos, that's going to help maintain the website's ranking and attract new visitors. Optimizing the content for keywords as well is really quite useful, and there are loads of tools which you can use. A very popular one is SEMrush, and that can be done optimizing the keywords for existing content as well as new content. And making sure that the content is constantly fresh is going to be very powerful when appearing in search, because search engines such as Google do look for new, fresh content, and it prefers this to older content. So the more new content that you're uploading, the more it's going to help your SEO strategy and boost your visibility in search. So we've actually tried to condense this a little to help you understand our top tips to become the king or queen of content. And we've separated it into 2 different sections of how to do it right and a few tips about what the content should look like. And when it comes to how to do it, it's quite simple really. We recommend that you provide both new and valuable content. As I say, Google is looking for relevant and fresh stuff to make sure that it is useful to the people who are searching for you. Making sure that you optimize and update old content regularly is going to be valuable, as well as adding those new category pages and blog posts, visuals, infographics, videos, whatever content that you have That's going to help your site maintain its ranking. And finally, practicing keyword optimization is going to make sure that you're appearing in front of the people who are looking for you. When it comes to what the content should look like, we think it should be unexpected and educational, and relevant and credible, inspiring and emotional, and make sure it's unique and trustworthy. A good example of a business who we think are doing it right with the holiday season in mind is Fabletics, and what they do is that they publish valuable and inspiring fitness-related content which is relevant for the holiday season, which I think of all seasons when fitness-related blogs and videos are going to be getting the most attention is probably when we've all been sat around eating for weeks on end. Optimizing these posts for SEO and maintaining keyword optimization has helped them maintain their ranking and drive traffic to the site via their blog.
So social media advertising is the next way to boost traffic, and again, just really curious to get your thoughts on advertising on social media. And so a question I'd like to ask you all is, are you currently spending on social media advertising? Yes or no. If you're not sure, just feel free to fill that in as well. Okay, so interesting results coming through. We'll keep it going for a few more seconds. Okay, so results are not far away from what I would be expecting, with a little under 2/3 of you spending on social media advertising at the moment. And according to proximity marketing, you'll probably be able to see why. 20p is the average cost per click on Facebook ads in 2016. So while paid search offers keyword targeting as high as £19.23 per click for highly competitive keywords, social media advertising is a reasonable alternative. So for those of you that aren't spending on social media advertising, you might just be missing a trick. So according to sproutsocial.com, 40 minutes is the average time spent by people on Facebook every single day, which is a huge opportunity to reach and target your audience. And so with this, social media advertising really has become essential. Today, social media has a real advantage over PPC, as it lets you target the exact customer you're trying to reach. Users are now more concerned with browsing, reading, clicking, liking, and connecting. This makes it easier for you as a business to interact with your audience, your customers, and your prospective customers. So a couple of companies that are doing this right. On the right-hand side is Urban Massage, and this is a client that I signed up a little over a year ago. One of the major advantages they have in their market is that they have established a 5-star reputation and learned from feedback what their customers want. So by rewarding a loyal following with flash offers on social media, they've enticed not just new customers, but repeat customers, and targeted this directly at a much lower cost. Dreams Beds, on the other hand, on the left-hand side, posted a giveaway every day in December. By doing this, they attracted more traffic and reached a wider audience. Their Facebook campaign is costing a lot less than a PPC ad and has attracted more engaged visitors as a result.
So far we've looked at 2 different ways in which we're able to help drive traffic during these key holiday events. Content and social advertising being the topics we've discussed so far. The next thing, which is really probably, it goes without saying, most of you are probably thinking, is website speed. But it's quite interesting that website speed does have a huge influence on what's going to happen with people who come to your website. A research which was done on Aberdeen.com said that a 1-second delay in a page load time can lead to 11% fewer page views and 7% loss in conversions. So it's quite a measurable loss in business that can be dictated by having a slow website. Interestingly enough, 47% of people expect a page to load in 2 seconds or less, which seems to be the magic number, because 40% of the people said that they would abandon a page if it took longer than 3 seconds to load. So taking all of this into account, we've looked at ways in which website speeds can benefit your business. Obviously, as well as having better conversion and more traffic, visibility in search engines is going to be a key topic, because these search engines are actually rewarding sites that they can crawl quicker. And obviously, if they have the relevant content that I was talking about a little bit earlier, that's going to be a magic formula for you to appear higher in more places. Quicker websites, faster websites is something which is going to have just a general better user experience, and a seamless user experience leads to more revenue, and happier customers have a higher chance, you've got a higher chance of these visitors who are visiting the website converting into customers.
So connected with that is also mobile optimization, which is the next way to increase traffic. Mobile really is a big deal. So according to McKinsey, 61% of users are unlikely to return to a mobile site they had trouble accessing. There's become a need and a requirement to optimize your website for all devices. This year we'll see Google implementing their mobile first index. So if you don't have a mobile optimized site, your ranking positions are really likely to suffer as a result. The easiest way to get your website mobile optimized is to have it designed by Responsive Design. Now, Jamie and I speak to customers all day, every day, and although we're not technical experts, we're lucky enough to work with some brilliant people in our team and also externally who have simplified what you need to do and have offered some top tips. To optimize your website, you really need to be picking one of 3 configurations. So that's the responsive design, dynamic serving, or separate URLs. Now, responsive web designing is the simplest and most recommended form of optimization. It delivers the same HTML on the same URL, and the page adapts to any screen no matter its size. As an alternative, dynamic serving, the URL remains the same but serves different HTML, which is when it's accessed from a mobile device. The last method is separate URLs, and it's exactly what it says on the tin. 2 distinct URLs, one for mobile, one for desktop. So a URL that is, for example, m.domain.com is a unique URL, and I'm sure that many of you online and on the call now are familiar with the m.URL, and that's where the separate URLs come in.
So the next thing we want to look at is voice search, which is actually a really hot topic at the moment when it comes to SEO, and I know that a lot of people are looking at it. So I'd like to just put the question out to everybody to see if this is something that you're really planning for. So quick poll question: are you currently planning for voice search in your SEO strategy? So just going to wait a few seconds just to see what feedback we get from everybody, because it'll be really useful to get an understanding of that. Just a couple more seconds, just a few more responses to come in. But it does seem that the overriding sentiment here is that either you don't have a plan in place or you're not entirely sure, it's probably out of your jurisdiction. So this might be quite interesting for you to see just how important voice search is already and how important it's probably going to be moving forward. We're once again going to be releasing another white paper this month relating to voice search. So there's going to be some really good in-depth, detailed discussions about how voice search is going to be influencing search moving forward. But Search Engine England actually released the statistics which came from Google's CEO Sundar Pichai, who said that already 20% of mobile search queries are voice searches. So it's a huge proportion of people are using virtual assistants or artificial intelligence, tools like Amazon Echo or Siri, they're penetrating the market in a very large way, and making sure that your website is set up to accommodate these types of people who are looking through voice search is going to be very important. We're going to very briefly look at how you can optimize your website for voice search, and there are really a few key things that you need to look at. The most important consideration here is what's known as long-tail keywords and phrases, and that's because people speak differently to the way we type. So it makes use of natural language as opposed to just single words, which you probably looked at in previous SEO strategies that you've had. Frequently asked questions pages are actually the perfect place to include these long tail keywords, because what you can do is you can use clear answers to these commonly asked questions, and these answers are the kind of things that have a good chance of appearing in search results. One thing that's very interesting when it comes to voice search is that localization and local searches are very prominent. So you're actually 3 times more likely to search on voice. A voice search is 3 times more likely to be local. So keeping your contact information and opening hours and location up to date is going to be important. If somebody searches for something like, where can I find a coffee shop in London, it's going to mean that you're more likely to appear in those results. So we've covered a few topics so far: voice search, mobile optimization, content, social media, and website speed. And the final topic that we think is going to be really important to help you drive traffic and click-through rates in the holiday season is online reviews. And we want to ask another quick question, which is, are you currently collecting online reviews? So again, I'm just going to wait a few seconds just to see what people are saying with regards to their review strategy. And at the moment, 94% of you are collecting reviews, which is great, and the remaining 6% who aren't sure if they're collecting reviews, hopefully the next couple of slides is going to explain why the vast majority of people are doing this. So online reviews, first and foremost, are going to be very important for helping you establish yourselves as a trusted brand. Reviews are a way in which you're empowering your customers to represent you. It allows you to accumulate lots of authentic customer reviews in a very simple manner. We do it through giving our customers the ability to automate the review process, and we urge our partners to ask all of their customers to write reviews. The more content, the better, really. These reviews create a living testament of how great you are, hopefully, and the reviews live within review communities, and they can also be seen everywhere. And the fact that they can be seen everywhere means that you can showcase the reviews where it matters. It helps you improve your overall reputation online and build positive web presences in organic search, as well as on-site and in social media and other places like that. Reviews are also going to be very powerful in helping you accelerate your marketing strategy. The reviews will drive traffic and efficiency in paid advertising. So it's going to boost conversion-ready traffic from these paid adverts, as well as in social and organic results and other channels. The other thing that you're able to do with reviews is achieve stars that appear in search engines. So these are known as Google seller ratings or rich snippets, and they are really important. You can see it here in the image for Vivint Security, that within their advert they have these Google seller ratings, the gold stars, and that, according to Google, increases the click-through rate on your advert by 17%. Increasing conversion rates is basically a way of using these reviews to showcase genuine social proof. That's going to boost engagement on site It's going to increase your conversions, and interestingly, it's actually going to help increase the basket size and the average order value during these key conversion points. Visibility in organic search, which I mentioned a moment ago, is going to be affected because you're being able to showcase highly relevant user-generated content. This content is crawlable by search engines, and that's going to help boost your rankings for these important keywords. The other thing that reviews is going to be really powerful to help you achieve is to help you improve your customer experience. You're gathering large amounts of feedback, which helps you understand the customer's experience and make smarter business decisions based on this informed data that you're getting through the insights. And from this data, you can create a more effective messaging in your marketing strategy and on landing pages and on your website. The reviews hopefully will help you reduce the amount of churn and increase the retention by identifying and resolving any issues that may be common, and also underlying causes of these problems, which will help you improve the overall customer experience throughout. Your best customers are also going to be brand advocates, and you can really maximize the gains from these customers. Continue to engage with them. It helps increase the retention, the upsells, and the repeat business that they're going to be generating. You can cultivate these advocates and referral sources to drive overall growth, so your customers can become part of your extended marketing team.
So to finish off our webinar today, before we take some of your questions, is a little bit about Trustpilot and looking sort of behind the numbers and why, if you're considering reviews, the 6% of you that don't already have reviews, or the 94% of you that are collecting reviews but maybe not collecting them on Trustpilot, why considering Trustpilot might be a good thing. So as Jamie said earlier in the webinar, with regards to Peter and his mum's buying experience, this led to Trustpilot being launched in 2007. We now have reviews in 65 different countries across the globe, and we are now generating 1 billion page impressions per month, which is a lot. Trustpilot is generating over 1 million new reviews per month, and just this past week or so, we tipped over the 33 million review mark in total online reviews. 72 million unique visitors visit Trustpilot every single year, which is around about the 7 million unique visitors per month coming on board to Trustpilot, and obviously there's a number on top of that, nearing 18 million for total visitors per month to Trustpilot. And also lastly, there's over 182,000 websites that have been reviewed worldwide. So this brings us to the end of our webinar. So we'd like to thank you all for taking the time to listen to us today. Jamie and I will now answer some of your questions, so please feel free to write them here on the screen. If you do not want to do that, appreciate you're quite busy, feel free to take down our email addresses on the screen and reach out to each of us directly offline as well. And also please don't forget to fill out the post-webinar survey, which will appear on screen after we have wrapped up the questions. So we're a company built on feedback, and as such, we would appreciate your thoughts on the webinar we've just presented to you. Okay, so the first question that's come through is, we're considering Trustpilot. How quickly would it take to start collecting reviews on Trustpilot? Jamie, do you want to cover that off?
Yeah, absolutely. So adopting Trustpilot, collecting reviews and showcasing these reviews and getting the benefits that we've discussed with being able to drive traffic and click-through rates is something that you can achieve fairly quickly. We've got multiple different plans and features, and what we like to do is to get an understanding of which features of Trustpilot are going to be most suitable to you. The important thing here is that getting up and running with Trustpilot is something that you can do very quickly. We have dedicated customer success team who work with you to invite your customers and set up this automation process that I spoke about earlier. Normally, we schedule a 40-minute call to work with your customer success manager, and within that 40 minutes, you'll start being able to send out some invitations to some of your existing customers and automate the process moving forward. So probably within an hour from then, you'll have quite a lot of content that you'll be able to display on your site. Ultimately, within a couple of days, you'll start being able to showcase these reviews on your site, and then with Google taking a little bit of time to index this information, all the benefits start to come through over the course of the subsequent weeks and months. In short, it's not going to take very long to get up and running with Trustpilot.
Okay, so the next question that's come in is actually asked about social media and the part around social proofing, and it's about how easy is it to display reviews as part of our social media marketing campaign. So there's a few ways to do this. Mostly if you're using sort of Facebook as your main driver for social media advertising, Facebook does allow you to collect reviews through there, which is very popular amongst a number of businesses. For those of you that are interested or are customers of Trustpilot, there is a simple integration into Facebook that is very simple to do. It takes about a minute or two, and that will allow you to showcase your Trustpilot reviews in social media. So if you're driving and spending money, which quite a large number of you are spending money on social media, having that social proofing and verification on your Facebook page is just as important as having that feedback and proof on your website page, because it's still an advertisement and extension of you. So, okay.
The other thing that is quite powerful is a new tool that we've introduced called the image generator, and that allows you to use this user-generated content, these reviews, and upload them to social media. So you can choose a review, and that's some content that you can put onto social. And I know that when I'm speaking to a lot of businesses who are actively trying to engage on social media, one of the biggest challenges that they have is relevant content. So using your users' reviews is a very good way of showcasing your customer service, but also attracting new potential customers.
So another question that's come through now is there a way of measuring the most common words used in your Trustpilot reviews to be used for optimizing search terms, etc.? Yeah, there is. There's a few different ways in which you can do that. So in the dashboard panels available to you, you'll be able to see, depending on which plan you're on with Trustpilot, you'll be able to see the ways in which people have found your Trustpilot page through search. And another way that is really impactful, as Jamie was covering, in terms of some insights and using that to work on areas of the business. We do have an insights and analytics tool which you can use to pick out keywords and messages that are being used in your reviews, both positively and negatively, to view why the business is performing and perhaps where it's not performing to its absolute best, and there are areas to pull out. So it's not just looking at the feedback and going, this is great and we've got a number to go against, but it's actually looking at the data behind it and using that to make the changes in the business that will allow you to improve and be an even better performing business. So that's in what we call our insights tool, and whoever asked that question, please feel free to ask us or to email out to us, and we're happy to answer that.
So we've received another question about negativity, reviews which have been received that are negative, and how businesses go about dealing with negativity and getting an understanding of the delicate balance between what you're supposed to do publicly and how you can escalate it internally. Trustpilot is an open platform, and because of that, you're going to get the people who are happy and the people who are unhappy leaving feedback. And it's going to be a very powerful tool. I mentioned it earlier, the way in which you're able to use Trustpilot to resolve any issues and actually identify the underlying problems that you have within the business, and it is something that you could escalate internally. As a first port of call, you're going to want to showcase the fact that you care about customer service as well as wanting to resolve that individual piece of negativity. So Trustpilot allow you the opportunity to respond to any review, and you also know who left you the review because you've invited this particular customer. So once you've responded, you can then attempt to resolve. That will hopefully help you retain that customer, win over new potential customers who are skeptical about your services, and then it's something, as I say, you can learn from and as a business improve.
Okay, next question is, does Trustpilot think Black Friday is good for consumers from what they see in reviews? And it's a really interesting question, and I guess in some ways it's slightly difficult to answer in the sense of without pulling through every single review that's ever been posted on Black Friday or in the subsequent days after. But you know, as I talked about earlier in the webinar, the amount of sales opportunity and potential is there. There's a huge appetite for it. We talk about businesses growing 48% from 2015 to 2016 on Black Friday. So there is an appetite from consumers to have it. Obviously what has been learned in the first few years with Black Friday was there was sort of almost this negative stigma about it. We saw the images that were on the news, and I'm sure that made retailers like yourselves nervous to participate. However, I think where we are now is it is an established shopping day and there is an appetite for it, and I think it's going to be one that's here to stay from the perspective of what we see in the retailers that we speak to. But like all things, it's about, if you do participate in those days, collecting that feedback and analysing what did we do well, and most importantly, what didn't we do well, and taking those and using them for the following years. And I think if you do that, you'll continue to have measured and improved success year on year on those particular sales days. Okay, so last question here is, can a customer edit their own review based on the business's response to the review, i.e. fixing the problem? Can the reviewer change the review from a 3-star to a 4-star, for example? So, Jamie?
Absolutely. So, as I mentioned earlier, the business itself is able to respond to the review and hopefully be able to resolve any issue. The customer themselves are able to go back onto Trustpilot and edit their review if they believe that the service that they've received has warranted the company to be changed from a 3-star to a 4-star or from a 3-star to a 5-star. The customer has the ability to go onto Trustpilot and amend that.
So I'd just add to that as well is, if you're dealing with the customer directly, you've had interaction with them, whether that's over the phone, whether that's over email or chat function or whatever it might be, you know, if you feel that you've resolved that issue and the customer has thanked you for taking the time to resolve that issue, you can promptly, politely ask them and say, well, you know, we found out about this problem because of Trustpilot. If you'd be so kind to just update how the conversation went afterwards, and that little prompt will just remind people to engage and to update. And by doing that, we've seen some outstanding results of people changing their reviews from a 1-star to a 4-star or a 3-star to a 5-star, because sometimes it isn't the fault of the business that that has led to the review. It's just either a miscommunication or misunderstanding, and when cleared up, the customer feels like that their response has been listened to. So definitely engage with your customers and ask them to consider changing the review.
Often the most important piece of customer interaction is after an initial negative experience. So resolving the issue does lead to great customer service in a lot of cases, and people are very willing to talk about that on Trustpilot and change their reviews.
So thank you very much for joining the webinar this afternoon, and any questions, please reach out to Jamie and I directly. Our emails are on the screen, or feel free to add us on LinkedIn and interact that way with us as well. But in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks very much for joining in.